Howdy and welcome to your special video. Mike here with Bobby, as always, and we're excited to talk to y'all because pretty much, you've invested in our course. Now you want to be an affiliate. That makes you like our favorite people in the world, like straight up favorite people in the world. So we really want to make this affiliate program, as useful for y'all as possible. We want to make sure that you can make good money, recommending this course if you choose to, which a lot of you are. And we want to help you as much as we can. And we've got a lot of experience promoting affiliate products, marketing in general. And so we want to share that knowledge with you and do anything that we can to help you be successful. Because one, we want y'all to kick ass. We want your blogs to grow using our course. And we want you to make money. Like that's what this is all about, is helping our favorite people make money. And of course we want, to make a lot of sales. We want you to make a lot of sales. So whatever we can do to help, we're going to do it. And so that's what we're here to do today. Right, Bobby? Let's talk a little bit about email and launching.
Email
and fun stuff like that.
Yep. This is the key. Like, this is something that I found out in my blogging business, basically in 2018. The email marketing game is the key to really driving a ton of sales. Like I was doing, I revenue wise, like I did fine in 2017 and even 2016. But once I unlocked the email marketing, that's when things got kind of crazy. So I think not only is this going to help you promote our course, but it's going to help you promote other products that, other affiliate products that you're associated with, or your own stuff. And just, you can even use some of the stuff to drive more clicks to your site with your general newsletter or whatever. We're going to teach you a lot of stuff that you're going to be able to use. And the one thing I will say before we get started is every blogger has this fear of, am I going to email my list too much? Am I going to scare my readers by emailing them more than I usually would? I used to have the same fear, but after doing a ton of launches this year with, Facebook Side Hustle, Facebook for Bloggers, even helping other affiliates launch their courses, it's going to be fine. It is not a bad thing to email your list as long as the emails are good. If they're high quality emails, that's what we're going to talk to you about today.
Yeah. And, just to kind of like reinforce that, like peel back the curtain a little bit, when we did that first launch for Facebook Side Hustle way back into January this year, you and I had so many conversations about the emails, like you, Chris, and I. And obviously, Chris and I, we're used to email. We've embraced it. We love email, but it was, you had used email, but not the way we had. And it was a little bit new to you going through this journey and like talking about the things we're going to talk about today. And there was like our biggest concern and really the conversation that was the filter for every decision we made with that course was, how is this going to impact the Millennial Money Man audience? And we wanted to make sure it was going to be valuable for them, that it wasn't going to annoy anybody or turn anybody off. We want to make sure, everything went through that filter. And so when Bobby's saying like, hey, I get it, I had those fears, like he really did. Like we had long, in-depth conversations talking through this and, me sharing my experience and what I had seen, and him, just processing it and trying to figure out, what am I comfortable with? What do I want to do? And, and we found a really nice balance, right? But the key was, and this is the thing that we always share with people, and just to kind of reiterate what you said, if you believe in the product you're promoting and you think that the content you're promoting is good, then the frequency of the emails doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, you're going to have a couple people unsubscribe probably, that's probably going to happen, but you're going to make sales as well. So today our goal really is, we want to talk through things specifically about email because it is what drives your sales. And although you should do things like reviewing a course and creating articles, and those sorts of things to drive traffic, like email, especially during a sale like we're doing, is what's going to move the boat. And so today we want to talk about some of those fears. We want to talk about email frequency. I've got a nice little list here on my yellow pad, so don't forget. we're going to talk about what we do, and we're even going to share with you our sample emails, like the ones that we used on the very first Facebook ads for bloggers launch. We're going to talk about our recommendations when it comes to frequency, and we're going to give you a couple options. So we're going to say like, this is probably the best thing you can do, and this is like the minimum recommendation. And then we're going to talk about some best practices. You know, how do you get more people to open your emails, more people to click through to your emails, to get more sales out of your emails? And then we're going to kind of discuss like, what should you be talking about in these emails? Like, how does it work? What's the best way? What does the content look like to get you the most sales possible? And really show your audience that this is a product I believe in, that I think could be a good investment for you. Go check it out. And the first thing, you know, we're going to get into the fears in a second, but you don't have to sell the program. You don't have to hard sell it. I think that's another thing too. You need to talk about it and then just get them to the sales page. We've got one of the best copywriters in the world. We're not blowing smoke when we say that. Chris has done tens of millions of dollars in sales via email for some of the biggest companies in the world. You know, he's a copywriter for one of the most famous digital marketers in the US, you know, as an example. He's very, very good. The fact that he works with us is just out of a friendship thing, because we're babies for him. We're his smallest clients. But he's put a lot of time into the sales page, and we've actually redone the sales page since our first launch based on feedback and some things we learned. So if you can just get people to click on your email to the sales page, that's going to do the work for you. And that's what's going to get you that cookie, which is going to get you sales down the road. So we're going to dive into all of this. But, you know, Bobby, why don't we talk a little bit about the frequency and those fears around email, especially because obviously you've been through that and your feelings on it have changed a lot in the last year. So can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I used to do basically just a Monday, Wednesday, Friday newsletter blast, right? Just like you see pretty commonly. And it wasn't really, you know, I was just basically saying like, I think my old ones were like a picture of the article, the headline, and there might have been like the first couple sentences, and then click here to read more, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, you know, that was just what I did though. And because I saw a lot of other bloggers doing that. If you look at my emails now, I still do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or I just switched to Monday, Wednesday, Friday again. But the emails are a lot different. I use a lot of like storytelling. I'll use like just, you know, I'll talk about the subject in the article or whatever. But the main thing that I'm trying to do is just get people interested in the email, make it enjoyable, and then get them to click and go through. And just that change of learning, like, okay, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel with any of this stuff. All I'm trying to do is get people on my email list to go to the blog post and do it in a way that entertains them at the same time. Right. So that's my philosophy now. But when it comes to these launches and the things that we've been doing, we started doing pre-launch emails the week before. Usually I think we do this. Depends if we're doing a flash sale or if we're doing a full-scale launch. But we would start emailing once on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in the mornings. And then we did Thursday. I think we usually do like a Thursday cart open.
We do a 4-day launch, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
So, and then we'll do basically 2 emails per day. So we'll do like 2 on Thursday, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and I think sometimes 3 on Sunday. And
always 3 on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah.
To just really quickly to go back, like the first time we did a launch, we did 2 on Friday, 2 on Thursday, 1 Friday, 1 Saturday, and then 3 on Sunday. And now we've since moved to, sometimes we do that and sometimes we do 2, 2, 2, 3. Right. But we always do a little bit more on the last day. So anyway, continue. I just wanted.
Yeah. So obviously that's a lot more volume than what people on my list normally would do. But I feel like what we've done is we've made the emails informative. We've made them entertaining. We've handled objections, and we'll talk about that. But every email that we send isn't something that we're afraid is going to annoy the reader. The reality is, like, if you do a good job with your emails, they're not going to be annoyed. They're probably going to either go look at the product and say, hey, this is something I want, or they'll be like, not interested in this. And they'll probably ignore your emails. I can count on probably, God, I don't even know how many launch emails we've done this year, but I can count probably on one hand on a list. I think my list is about 25,000 people. I've had like 5 people that have maybe sent me an email complaint about the amount of emails that they're getting. Um, and really the amount of unsubscribes has been surprisingly low. Like I thought it was going to be a lot worse. So that was one of those things, like if you're sitting here and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to email my list like pre-launch and, multiple times a day and all that, like it's going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And even if somebody does say like, oh, you're emailing me too much, from my perspective as a blogger, if somebody wants to be on my list and just get free stuff all the time, like free articles and free stuff for me, that's fine. But if they're on my list, then I've reserved the right to sell them stuff every once in a while, right? Because you're in this to make money. So I don't feel bad selling. And that's something that Mike and I talk about all the time. Selling is not dirty, and you are running a business. So when people are on your email list and you present an offer to them, it's okay. And it's okay to make money. And the other thing too, like Mike said, you're not trying to sell the course. Like you're not trying to be like, this is the greatest thing ever and blah, blah, blah. Like all you're trying to do with your emails is get them to take that next step of getting the sales page. And we do all the heavy lifting for you. Like after that, just let us handle it. You just get them to the sales page. So if you take that approach, I think from just your regular emails that you do in the newsletter to launches for us or other affiliates or yourself, just get them to the next step. That's all you're doing. It's not a big deal. You're not going to get nearly as many complaints as you think you are. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. And I think another thing, so if you're listening to this right now and you're like, oh God, they're going to recommend that we send 50,000 emails. I don't want to do this. I'm going to stop. I'm going to tune out right here. Please don't tune out, because that's not what we're going to do. We're for one, we intentionally made it a 3-day launch instead of a 4-day launch with your list in mind, right? Because this is an affiliate sale. It's for y'all. And we realize that, like, although we're cool with doing a 4-day launch and a big pre-launch, making it a whole 1-week event, like that might be a little much. We want you to be able to dip your toes in the water. 3 days is really good. And we made sure it was over a weekend because Friday, Saturday, Sunday launches work incredibly well. Yeah. Nothing sells quite like something closing down on Sunday at midnight when people are like thinking about going to work or what's coming up the next week. And are like, oh my gosh, this is my last chance. Right. So excuse me. So we've put it down into 3, and we're going to break it down. Like I said, a very light email plan and a more in-depth email plan. The other thing to keep in mind here is that when we're talking about not selling, like trying to sell the product in the email, what you really need to be doing is just share your experience, share your thoughts. We're going to give you those sample emails that are going to give you some ideas of some of the things you might want to talk about, some common objections that we already know and we've identified for you. But you just want to share your thoughts on it because your audience wants to hear from you. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're being an affiliate and they're selling is that they're just like, hey, my friend so-and-so has this product. Here it is. And it's just straight like facts about the product, and they're sending people to the link, and your audience doesn't care. Like, they don't want to know what Bobby and I think. They want to know what you think. They want to know your experience. If you had a fear or an objection prior to buying Facebook ads for bloggers, and then that fear was alleviated after taking the course, then you probably want to talk about that. One of the ones in a sample email that we're going to send you is about, what if Zuckerberg takes all my money? And the idea is, what if I spend all this money on Facebook ads and I don't get any kind of ROI or anything? And that's a big objection. But a lot of you have written to us and said, I was worried about that, but I took a chance. And then I spent $100 and I ended up making back $200 or $300, or I made my $100 back and got all this new traffic, right? There's a lot of you that have written in and said, I saw a pretty good ROI right away. And if you've had that experience, you sharing that experience, that's going to help you move more product, move more sales for yourself. So think about what you went through. Think about what you were worried about. And then think about the reason that you decided to take a chance and what made you buy, even though you had those doubts. Because there's always a doubt, no matter what. It doesn't matter how much you like Bobby or I. It doesn't matter how much you trust us. There's always a doubt. Sometimes the doubt is, I don't know if I can do this, right? And so, excuse me, whatever that objection you had, if you share that with your audience and you talk about it and then say, this was one of my fears, and then here's kind of what I thought, and I actually found out after I did it, this is what happened. I'm really glad I made that investment, and that's why I'm recommending this to you. If you want to learn more, click here. And then you send them the sales page. They can get the factual stuff from the sales page, but they want to hear from you. They want to hear your opinion. They want to hear your thoughts. So it's really important to keep that in mind and try and inject your experience as much as you possibly can.
Yeah. And it's good that you mentioned the objection part, because if you guys go and you look at the sales page, maybe you haven't thought of it from this perspective, but when you go through and you look at all the headlines that are, laid out, all we're trying to do is answer people's questions about the course. We try to go through and think like, okay, what are people what are they not going to like, or what are they going to be afraid of? And that's really you're addressing fears that people have. Yep. So if you look at the sales page, that's how that works. But you also have to do that in email. So you're going to be sending these emails that we're talking about. Some of the emails themselves will address objections, but you're probably going to get responses from your readers where they have another question, and you don't have to overthink it. All you have to do is address their fear with your own experience. Or if there's something that you don't know, feel free to shoot me an email or shoot either one of us an email, and we'll help you address the objection, because we've seen pretty much everything. And at that point, it becomes really simple, because all you're doing is flipping the light switch on all of these objections. People are like, "Ooh, I'm afraid of this," and you just go, "Well, here's what you need to know about it," and that's it, right? So you don't need to go in heavy sell on these things. Or you're just answering questions and addressing fears.
Right. So let's talk about frequency for a second, and let's talk about kind of what we recommend on that front. So to give you kind of an idea of what we did, we had, and we're going to send you these samples, we had 1, 2, 3 pre-launch emails. So we did a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday email. That was just laying the groundwork. We opened the cart on Thursday, okay, and then in the morning. And we had another email Thursday afternoon. So we had 2 that day. Then we had a Friday morning email. We had a Friday afternoon email. And then we had a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. Okay, so we did 2 every day. And then on Sunday, we did 3. So we went 1 on Monday, 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday. And then cart open on Thursday, we did 2, 2, 2, 3. Now, we're not recommending that for you. What we're going to recommend for y'all is kind of like a 3-tiered approach. So we really do feel that the more that you email and the more that you contact your list, the more successful you're going to be. Because all you're trying to do is get as many eyeballs on the thing as you possibly can. It's a volume thing. And you've got to remember, if somebody isn't interested, they're just going to ignore these emails until the regular emails resume. No big deal, right? And then they'll pick up just following your normal newsletter. If they are interested, they're going to be opening all of these emails, or at least a bunch of them, because they want to get as much information as possible. You got to think about that. When people are buying, they do research. They want to learn as much as they possibly can. And the best research tool that they have is you and your emails. So the more you send, the more successful you're going to be. And so that's why I'm going to lay out these kind of 3 ways that we suggest going from most to least. Okay. So our number 1 recommendation is going to be that you send 1 to 2 pre-launch emails, right? Probably Wednesday and Thursday, or just on Thursday, depending on if you want to do 1 or 2, kind of setting the stage, letting them know, hey, I'm going to be doing this thing. I'm going to be promoting it. I'm going to be telling you more about it. Here's why it's important. Giving them a heads up, because then your first Friday email can just literally be, the cart's open, come buy the thing, right? So there's the first option, 1 to 2 pre-launch emails. And we'll talk about the contents of the email sequence after this. Friday, we're going to say, which is day 1 of launch, we recommend you send 2 on day 1, right? So 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. Saturday, it's going to be your slowest sales day. Okay. If you look at the sales breakdown, you're probably going to see somewhere in the, let's say, 25 to 40% range on day 1. You're going to see whatever's left of that is going to make up 50% of your sales is going to be on Saturday. So those 2 combined would make 50%. And then Sunday is literally going to be half of your sales. Okay. That's just, it's every launch we've ever done. It's been that way. And everyone we know, it's been that way more or less. So only 1 email on Saturday. And then on Sunday, best practice, 2 to 3. We like 3. So we like to send one in the morning, send one in the afternoon. And then we have just found that a very short, simple, this is your last chance email around sometime between 7 to 9 p.m., letting them know the cart's closing at midnight. It's like we send that email, and when we watch our sales things, it'll be like tick ups, and that hits, and then it's boom, and it shoots up, right? You see a ton of sales between like 8 p.m. and midnight after that last email. So that's, to us, best practice. 1 to 2 pre-launch emails, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 on Friday, 1 on Saturday, 2 to 3 on Sunday. We would say 3. All right. If you want to do less than that, our kind of medium approach is doing a Thursday pre-launch, 1 Friday email, 1 Saturday email, 2 Sunday emails, right? And our minimum plan is a Friday, a Saturday, 2 Sunday. You'll notice that in all of these, higher frequency on Sunday. It's because that's when most of your sales are going to happen, and you want to keep nudging them and reminding them. So, I mean, Bobby, do you have any comments on kind of this frequency thing?
No, I think, when it comes to which one you choose or whatever, just do whatever you feel comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
If this is something where you're like really uncomfortable sending emails, just send the minimum. It'll be fine. What you'll find, you'll probably go through the same process that I did. You'll be like, oh, that was pretty cool. I just made a bunch of money. And you'll be like, I'm going to send a little bit more next time. I'm going to send a little bit more. So just do whatever you feel comfortable with. And the biggest thing, like you said, Sunday is where all of the emails are basically urgency plays. Like that the fear of missing out, the FOMO thing, is very real. If people feel like the doors are going to close or the sale is going to end, they will buy. And the cool thing about it is, like, well, I don't know about the cool thing, but I don't know about you, Mike, but for me, like, if there's a deadline for something, I'm more likely to go do it. Right. So
very true.
That's what kind of happens. That's the psychology behind this. People are like, okay, I know I want to do this Facebook course, but if you give them the option to like not do it, they probably will take that option. So what we do is we don't give them the option to pass it up. Right. And that's all you're doing, is you're kind of reminding them that the doors will close or the sale will end, and then they'll go and pick up the course.
Yeah. And the other thing you got to remember too is, like, it is the weekend. People are doing stuff. They're going to forget about it. The more you remind them on Sunday, the better, because the worst thing that happens is when somebody emails you on Monday and they go, I totally forgot about this, but it's too late. Right. And Bobby and I, like, let's be very, very honest about this. When we say we're going to do something, we don't like to go against that. So if we say a sale ends on a certain time, the sale ends. Right? Unless it's a very extenuating circumstance. We try to stick to that because we want people to be able to trust us in the future. And that's another thing too. Like, we wanted this to be a good deal for y'all, which is why we're giving $100 off the course. Like, this is the biggest sale that we are going to do on this course ever. We're probably not going to do $100 off ever again. So this is really the best opportunity to get in on it. Who knows? Maybe we'll do $100 again, but we're never going to do more than that. That's for dang sure. Okay. So I think now let's talk a little bit about best practices, because I think this is important. I think there's some things that we see people do with their affiliate marketing emails, and we've seen them do it with our launches and, with their own, course launches aren't even affiliate launches. And just, we want to make sure that you guys know some best practices about what to do and what not to do in your email. And so we're going to talk about subject lines, calls to action, the content of the emails. That's when we're going to get into those details. So you want to kick us off?
Well, I don't know which one you were going to go with first, but if I had to guess, I would say the multiple call to action. Is that what you were going to go with? Yeah.
That's
okay.
exactly.
So this is what I've done this before. Like, I'm totally guilty of this in my previous blogging years. We see it very commonly. And I see it all the time, from like newsletters to affiliate promotions to people's own course sales. It's very easy to like put 17 different things for the reader to go look at in an email, because you're like, okay, well, if I send them to my review, and then I send them to, some other resource about the course, and then I also send them to the sales page, and then I also do that. Like, if you think like, okay, if I send them to as many things as possible, I might get the sale. That's not really how it works. The emails, and you'll even see this in my newsletter emails or any of these launch emails that we'll give you, there's one call to action. The whole email is designed to do one thing, and that's to get them to the sales page. So when you are writing these emails, don't send people out to a million different places. Just send them to one thing, and you can link to it, more than once. You'll see that in some of our emails. Like, it's a longer email, we'll put, call to action.
Multiple links to the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all funneling them to the same thing. So don't send them to multiple places. That's probably the easiest one to mess up. But if you can correct that in your emails, you're going to get way, way better results.
Yeah. And let me tell a little story about that, because it's important too. Like when you do a launch for yourself as an affiliate, whatever, you should be talking about nothing else, right? So even if you do a normal newsletter like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and now you're doing a launch and you're doing a pre-sale on Thursday and you're doing a launch on Friday, you're going to skip that Friday newsletter email because you're promoting something. Okay. So you want to keep that in mind. And I remember in our second launch, we had an affiliate that did pretty dang well in the first launch. And then sales were suffering for this person in the second launch. And so they hit us up and were like, hey, I don't understand. Like this, I did really well last time. And this was like maybe 2 days in the launch. This person was like, I did really well last time and I'm not closing the sales this time. I can't figure it out. Can you help me out? And so we said, sure. And the first thing we did is we went into our dashboard to see what the sales were and to see what the traffic was. And we noticed that there was way less traffic, right? Yeah. And so, but when we were comparing other affiliates, it was like comparable traffic. So we're like, why does this one person have drop off? So we said, hey, can we see your emails? And so this person showed us the emails and we looked at them and immediately understood what was going wrong. There were multiple topics being discussed in these emails, like an intro paragraph and then a point 1, a point 2, a point 3, a point 4. And it was like, check out this video, check out this blog post, look at this product or guide that we have. Don't forget about the, saving money on the sale for this program. And it was like, look, the reason that you're not getting traffic this time is because you've buried the goal of your email inside of a bunch of other stuff. Like, we understand you've got a video and a blog post and these things that you want to promote, but like, do it Monday, and you're going to see more sales. So this person changed their strategy, made the entire emails on Saturday and Sunday be about our course, ended up being like one of the top affiliates, like really kind of turn it around. So you need to be careful of that because you got to think about it. You're distracting people. You're giving people options. Everything that we do in marketing, there's always a couple of things that we keep in mind. The first is we want to sell the next action. So if we send an email, we want the subject line to get them to open it. Once they open the email, we want them to click, right? Once they click, we want them to click again to buy. Like, you only sell one step at a time. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you don't want to give them too many options. You want to give them 2 options, the option to do what you want them to do or the option to go away. And in the case of an email, that means clicking on the link or closing the email. Those are the only 2 options you want them to have. So if you're linking to other things, then you're giving them another option, and they're always going to take the option of least resistance, which means you're not going to get traffic to the sales page. The other thing is if you're talking about other things other than that, you're using up the mental energy. You're potentially distracting and potentially losing them. So just talk about the one thing.
Yeah. And I think you see it pretty commonly because I think a lot of bloggers, just going back to like when I used to do this, it's a softer way, like it feels like a softer way of selling if you can kind of package all of these like a newsletter style where it's like, here are all the things happening with Millennial Money Man this week. And then you're like, oh, don't forget about the sale for this thing. Like it's like, I understand where that comes from, but it's also just really ineffective. And then you're just like not doing anything that you actually want to do. So definitely, avoid that. Just try to keep your emails focused.
Your goal is to like do everything you can to direct them to the sales page to go buy, like everything possible, and then let them make the decision on their own. Like, they're going to make the decision, right? Yeah. But so you just want to get out of their way, right? You don't want to distract them. You don't want to put barriers. You don't want to make it harder. You just want to get out of their way. Okay. So some other things like, Bobby, you talked about subject lines. And so I think for subject lines, like, we talk about curiosity-based subject lines all the time, or benefit-based subject lines. But I think if you can add a curiosity element That always helps. But I think in sales, we're a little bit, or with our sale emails, we're always a little bit more direct. We're either going to bring up a fear or we're going to bring up a benefit in the headline. So like, I'm just going to look at some of these sample ones that we're going to send. Let me see. So
There's one. What if Facebook takes all of my money?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Another one was like, so what's the deal with the coaching community, right? So there's a membership, there's like a paid membership, and that's something people look at it and they go, what is that? Like that,
right.
That's a concern. And so addressing that, that's a good one, because we're basically saying, we know this is an objection. So we're going to make that question, that objection, the headline. That's a really good way to do it. The one about like, will Facebook take all of my money? That's another objection. Other ones are going to be things like, the course is open, very simple. The course is open. Or, I think when we did the launch, our second email, like we did courses open, and then we said, here's $100 discount. Like that was the subject line. It was just a straight benefit, right? To get them in there and to think about it. And so really just think about, what is the objection you want to talk about? What is the benefit they're going to receive? Or it could be something as simple as like, my honest thoughts on X, right? Or, or it could be, my biggest fear about using Facebook ads, and then talking about that, and then how you overcame that fear and that kind of thing, right? People are going to care about that. It's the same thing talking about like your opinion, that sort of thing. So that's kind of the approach.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I feel like those kind of emails are very good Saturday emails. When you're talking about like, here is my personal experience with this course, or like here, and you're addressing like your own story. Because really, I feel like that kind of sets the tone for Sunday, which is pretty much just an urgency play. And those are actually like the Sunday ones that we do are my favorite headlines, because they're so direct. It's just like, deadline, the course closes in 3 hours or whatever. They're just so effective. Like they always work. I love sending them too, because they're super short emails. Like it's just very simple.
Yeah. Like we had one, how to become a world famous blogger. Hint, it's not about Facebook ads, I swear. Like that was the first Sunday email. But then the next one was deadline. The discount's about to expire. And then the very last one is 3 hours left. In the email, this is the whole email. Hey, it's Bobby. Just want to give you one final chance to get Facebook ads for bloggers for $100 off. And it's a link, right? And then it says, this is the last time I'll be emailing you about this today. You still have a chance to say big on the course, but it vanishes at midnight. Click below to get in before the deadline. Link. Yeah. It's short. It's super tiny. And you remember the first launch we did, and Chris sent us all the emails, and we got the last email and we're like, dude, there's 3 sentences. Like, what's up? And he goes, all you're doing is you're giving a nudge. You're giving them one last reminder, and you're saying, this is it. Either get in or get out, but this is your last chance. And we're like, okay. And he just said to trust him, and we sent it. And it's like, it was so fun, because I remember we sent that and we were skeptical, and it was like the 10-minute period after we sent that email was this big burst in sales. And we're like, okay, this is why you listen to the pro. So let's go through, sorry, I'm still getting over this cough. Let's kind of go through like our recommendation for how to do your kind of emails. And so we're going to take our medium set of emails approach, which is doing a Thursday pre-launch, a Friday, 2 emails on Friday, 1 email on Saturday, 2 emails on Sunday. All right. And so for the pre-launch email, one of the emails we sent you is talking about Bobby's secret to his traffic secret. Right. And so it's the subject line was my big blog traffic secret. And it's just telling the story about how he used Facebook ads to grow his blog and all of that. It's laying the groundwork, and then basically saying, tomorrow I'm going to be promoting this course that teaches you this exact same thing. And I think that that's actually a really good way for y'all to go with a pre-launch email, is to talk about, this secret and you can introduce Bobby, and you can tell a little bit about his story and why you should listen to him on this, and that you're going to be promoting it, and why you're going to be promoting it, and then just letting him know it's coming tomorrow.
Right.
So that's kind of our recommendation for a Thursday pre-launch. That means that Friday, email 1 is just going to be a, hey, the cart's open kind of thing, right? And it's going to be very much around that, and you'll see our cart open email example. And then the next one on Friday, the second one on Friday, is really about the discount, right? And it's like you're going to mention the discount in the cart open, but it's a subject line about the discount, right? And probably a shorter email, because then they're just going to, that's a big benefit people are going to be interested in. Saving $100 is a big deal, right? Especially for a course that's $400. I mean, it's a 25% discount. So if you say, you know, save $100 or here's $100 or something like that, that's going to work really effectively.
Yeah.
Now for your Saturday, what that leaves you is a Saturday email and 2 Sunday emails, right? Maybe 3. But so if you're going to do 3 Sunday emails, then your first 2 Sunday emails are going to fall in this category. If you're going to do 2 Sunday emails, then your morning Sunday and your morning Saturday are going to fall in this category. And this category is just addressing an objection, sharing your experience, you know, those sorts of things. And for the Sunday one, for the subject line, we would even take the approach of saying like addressing a fear, objection, or whatever, but then also saying like in parentheses, the deadline is today or something like that. So it's almost like if that category is objections, experiences, stories, that kind of thing, then Sunday is one of that category plus a deadline. So like, Bobby, do you have any recommendations? I guess they could do this for the second one as well on Friday. If they wanted to, they could make the second Friday one, you know, have some of that too. But what are your thoughts on those kind of middle emails?
Well, the middle emails, the way that I feel like we've approached it, you'll get certain questions. Like if you start getting responses to your emails, like on Friday or even, you know, Thursday pre-launch or whatever, you'll start seeing like common themes. And so a lot of times, like we'll take those common themes and do an email about it. So if we see people that are like, you know, I'm just trying to think of a random objection, like are Facebook ads too expensive, or can I really do it for $1 a day or whatever? Then you on that Saturday time frame and early Sunday, you can take those objections and put them into an email and address them. You know, that I feel like is an easy strategy to use for those kind of middle launch emails, you know?
Yeah, and that's a good point, because we always leave Saturday evening open. Always. Yeah. Like we never intend to send a second email on Saturday, but then what happens is we tend to, if we don't always do it, but if we are seeing a big objection that's happening over and over and over, then we're going to go, you know what, let's just send an extra email in that slot, and we'll send it, you know, around 5 or 6 or whatever. And that's been really well. I remember in the first launch, we sent an email Saturday in the evening that said a PayPal option is now available. So we had so many people that were like, I don't really want to enter my credit card information. I want to use PayPal. And we were like, how do we do that? And so we like got all the tech and had somebody help us figure it out. And that worked really well. Do you have any thoughts about like time of day to send, like that you've noticed for these emails?
So we typically do, I believe, 8 a.m. Central. And then I think we do I think we do either 4 or 5 p.m. Central on the evening emails. And then so we'll do, you know, 8 p.m., 4 p.m., 8 p.m., 4 p.m. Let's say that was Saturday. And then like Sunday, we'll do 8 a.m. Then we'll do usually around noon. Whenever people, you know, I don't know if they're watching football. I guess this time of year they're watching football. And I think we actually did that. Wasn't there one that we did a launch during a football?
Oh, dude, we did a launch like the first weekend of football season or something like that. And we're like, this is a horrible decision. And we realized what we did. Yeah.
We ended up actually timing our email to go in between the morning to like the first game and the afternoon game.
On Sunday, we knew we had the noon game and the 3 o'clock game. And so we sent emails at like 2:30. It worked.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's something to think about. So I would probably send it before the noon game, because especially for this specific launch. It's going to be on a football Sunday. So I would send it before the noon game, probably like 11:30, something like that. And then at night on Sundays, we do 8 p.m. And that's plenty of time, because what you'll find is like a lot of people some people check their emails at like 11:30 at night, or like, some people do it really, really late. So that's kind of been, so like 8, 4, and then on the last day on Sunday, maybe 8, 11, 11:30, and then 8 is a good.
Yeah. Yep. So I think that's pretty much it. I think we covered this pretty in depth, probably went a little longer than we intended.
That's okay.
But the big thing is, guys, if you have questions, let us know. Like if you're like, oh, I'm thinking this, what are your thoughts? Like we can help you with that, and then that's pretty much it. We want you to do well. We hope you found this resource helpful. If you're thinking about doing this, like the frequency thing, like if it makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, it's okay. We get it. It was uncomfortable at first, and we're not coming from this of a place of like, get us more sales. We're trying to share best practices with you, and we're trying to share the reasoning behind why we do what we do and why it works, and so if you can learn this skill, when you promote other affiliate programs and when you promote yourself, you're soon going to find yourself outperforming the other people that are also affiliates for those programs. And you're going to see your sales go up, because it really helps, like, the getting this stuff nailed and then just increasing the size of your list are really some of the best things that you can do for your sales. So, if you got questions, let us know. And Bobby, it looks like you got a final something.
I just had so what I would do, thinking past this launch and thinking past like affiliate stuff, one of the reasons that we're able to now send quite a few of these emails to the list and not really have any blowback from the audience, in my normal newsletter, they're all pretty much the same format. Like if you go and jump on my email list and look at what I send out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, kind of the same format as what all of these launch emails are. And so what I'm doing over the course of the year is I'm training my audience what to do when they get an email, which is read a bunch of stuff and then click to the one call to action. So if you do this launch, you have some success, I would definitely look into like, check out my emails. Mike has an email list, check out his emails. Get on our copywriter, Chris Orzakowski, theemailcopywriter.com, get on his list, see how he does it. And you'll find that you can kind of train your audience and your email list to do what you want, so that when you do promote these affiliate products and you do your own courses and all of your own products, it's going to be more effective for you when you use these emails. So that was just my last suggestion before we close it out.
Such a good point. I'm glad you said that, because I didn't even think
it all goes together. It's like it all fits together. It's all kind of like you build on it throughout the year. And then when you do these launches, it's like, you send more volume. They're used to it. They know exactly what to do. And there's no shock factor anymore. So,
right. All right. So that's it. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you, investing in us and our business. Like, it really means a lot to us, and, being a supporter of what we're doing. And, we just hope you make some money. That's kind of, we always say, that's kind of like our motto is like, we want to make money and build a life for our families. And then we want to help people make money and build an incredible life for their families as well. So best of luck. If you've got questions, reach out. We'll see y'all later.